Welcome to this week's episode of Blended, Blessed, and Always a Mess, where just being honest, it's been a difficult week in our home because normally we would just be celebrating Hallie's birthday all week long. And instead, it's harder. Obviously, we're actually recording this on her actual birthday, which is Friday. And so 23 years ago today, you gave birth to a beautiful bouncing baby girl. It's been a really tough week for you. And so I'll let you kind of dive in.
Well, first of all, it's hard to believe that it's been 3 years, 3 birthdays without her. So super sucky, super sucky. So I have been trying to honor her all week and celebrating her each day like we normally would. And it sucks every day. I tell people that it sucks every day, but the milestones and days where you would really celebrate them are hard. And to be honest, like, I think what's the hardest is leading up to the actual day, because you're just filled with so much anxiety and like this unrest and this restlessness and dread and pain and all of it. Like this, you go through this anticipation of the hell. And then you get to the day, and yes, it's super hard. I woke up crying. And then you're just like, well, F. I mean, it doesn't feel like any other day. It's not actually like it's harder. It's the same. So some people don't like profanity, which I'll respect that, except today. I mean, we pick out coffee cups, and today is just like fresh out of F's today. And Eric's is a ray of effing sunshine. So
Some days, that's just the mood. It's the
it's just
vibe.
the mood. I mean, I say this often to Eric, but like my skin crawls. My skin crawled for the first year. And then that, eases up a little bit over time. But then you like are gearing up for something, a milestone, something to do with her, with Hallie. And then it's just like, I don't want to be touched. I don't want extra words. I don't want to dive into it. I don't want to be consoled. Like, you just want this space to be quiet, and I don't want to talk on the phone. I'm good to text and just respond, and I just want to sit in it and think about her. And sometimes you do want it to be dark, because that's loving Hallie. That's like grieving her. So it's hard because you get in this space where little things annoy you because you're dealing with this like really big thing. And then all the little shit doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I think that sitting in the pain, we've always said that, but I think it took me a really long time to understand that like sitting in the dark and being sad and feeling all that is how you love her in some ways. Like, if I didn't love her, I wouldn't feel all of that. I also know she'd be really mad if I like sat around and cried all day. Anyway, we did try to celebrate her this week and did some giveaways with her Hallie sweatshirt for people that on our social media sites that wanted to tag people to let them know that they're your damn wings and no one owns the sky. Your worth does not belong in someone else's hands. You are worthy. You matter. You're beautiful. All the things. So it was good just to honor Hallie and feel like other women, other girls were being lifted up. And then Are You With Me has been shipped out and starting to get cute pics of little kiddos reading their books, and like that makes my heart smile. I had one lady message me and say that her boys she's read the book over and over to her boys, and they always point and get excited when they see the Hallie bird in the book, and they're like, oh, there's Hallie. And that is my why. I mean, there's nothing that can bring me more joy than knowing that people say her name, that people know her when they didn't know her before, that I have this army of people keeping her memory alive. That's literally what like keeps me going.
I think
And then
that's
we
really cool too because you every time you see a picture of a child that didn't know Hallie that has the book and is saying her name, just the giveaways this week to hear from other people how much they wanted a Hallie sweatshirt because they are really cool. It's another way to keep her memory alive when they wear it out in public and they talk about it. And so I think that's really cool. I have been shipping books and I've got to do a better job with the post office because I made the mistake one day. I've been to the post office several times this week, and one day it was cold, and I made the mistake of walking in with a Starbucks. And they were like, "Did you bring some for the entire class?" And I was
oh,
like, "I did not, but I guess if these books need to keep getting where they're supposed to go, my
we
next
might
time
need
in,
to bring him Starbies.
I will have to do a better job for the postmen and postwomen that have been helping us all week." So, but books, some are being have arrived. I saw that you've got more for me to take to the post office
Hmm.
today. So
Yeah, they're also in a couple of stores. So I'm going to give some shout outs to Initially Yours in Jefferson City. If you haven't been to that boutique store, it's super cool. And so Are You With Me is there along with a couple of the horses, the little snuggies that are so cute. And then Downtown Book and Toy in Jefferson City also has both books, Feathers Matter and Are You With Me? And then one store that Hallie would be super excited about, or is super excited about, is Fringe Western Wear in Columbia, which is Hallie's favorite store. And Are You With Me is there. And of course, it's fitting, right? It's a story about a horse. And it's just cool to see things kind of come full circle.
that is cool because Morgan, one of the owners of the store, was there the other day when I walked in. And her and I, we do business on a different level. And I just said, I never realized that you have, I knew they had kids' clothing. I didn't realize you had this stack of, like, it's a shelf full of kids' books. And they're all about horses. It's a Western wear store. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. My wife's book is out this week. It's about our horse and being brave and a continuation of Hallie's story from Feathers Matter. And then Morgan was like, well, I have Feathers Matter. I bought it for my child. And so then we figured out a way to get it in, and they sent us a pic last night from the display. And I'm with you. Hallie
Mhm.
loved to go there. I remember taking Hallie there before they had moved. It was right when she got to Mizzou. I took her downtown and showed her around. And then obviously she liked the store even more when they moved and it got bigger, but very cool
Mhm.
that the book is there.
Yeah. And, it's her birthday today, like we said. And we're trying to talk, think about a topic for the podcast. And again, going to be like real and honest about when people are grieving. But Aric, you had suggested, well, she's going to be 23. Maybe we should do like 23 things that we loved about Hallie. And like my first thought, because it's been over 2 years, my first thought is people are probably tired of hearing about Hallie and hearing about our grief. And by now, everybody knows her, right? And they know her personality, they know stories about her. And I'm sharing that because that's what grievers feel and think. Like after a while, you think, I should be like moving on. And people are probably tired of hearing me talk about her. And I think there's some truth to that. Like I really do. And I don't think it's like a right or wrong thing. I just think after a while, here's the sad part. After a while, you run out of new stories because there's no new memories being made. And that's also like the brutal fact. Like I get excited every once in a while. I'll stumble across a new picture that somehow I missed or somehow, popped up on a memory that I had missed before. But there's no new memories being made. And so at some point in time, you run out of like new stories to share. So I'm like, I don't want to talk about 23 things that we loved about her because I feel like people already know those things. But you want to keep honoring them. And so, because of her, to honor her, my thought was let's focus on helping other people because at the end of the day, I know that's why I'm carrying this. I know that's what I'm supposed to do.
You're doing a great job. And in Angie's grief this week, which has been heavy, she's written a lot. And you may have noticed different blogs that she's posted. And she wrote a beautiful new poem called Carry Me that she dropped on our social medias today on Hallie's birthday. So if you're listening to this on Sunday or after, you can go back through our socials and find it. And in the business right now, I'm just filibustering while Angie has a typical moment and works to compose. It's been a really hard week. And I think, you listen every week, you can tell that it's been a really hard week.
Yeah.
And so Angie has posted what she posted this blog earlier in the week. And I said, well, that's the podcast topic. I mean, not everyone reads the blog. Not everyone listens to the podcast. Sometimes it crosses over. There's my marketing background that kicks in from time to time. It's no matter where you put it, you've got to get it in front of people. And so we thought that we would kind of go deeper into helping people through their grief with some, what I thought were really great ideas that Angie had in a blog earlier this week.
Okay. All right. I'm getting it together. So I saw this quote the other day. Actually, I think Aric, you shared it with me, but it's a longer quote, but one piece of it that I love was new levels, new devils. So, as you grow in life, you experience new challenges all the time. And as you grow, a lot of times those challenges get bigger and you reach new levels. And then there's new devils all the time. And so I think about the demons that I fight all the time. In my battle plan to fight the demons is to eliminate the noise. And that is really freaking hard in a world where there is so much noise all the time. And the noise sometimes is ourselves telling ourselves negative stories. You don't know anybody that does that, do you?
I don't. Not at one
No?
person.
Yeah.
No. Never been me. Nope.
Yeah. So here's the thing. There's 3 M's to eliminate noise because we have such a limited amount of time to consume content, and you're in charge of what content you consume. So you almost become what you take in. Like what you're consuming is what you become.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And so I just want to say what you just said about the noise. I have read I've read several books this past 12 months. I've listened to several podcasts, and they all say the same thing, is that the devil's biggest trick is the noise. If he can keep you busy with the noise that separates you from our loving Father, then that's what brings in the anxiety. That's what brings in all the distrust and all the bad feelings. And so it is what you do is to quiet the noise. And that's why a lot of people talk about breathing. A lot of times, if you can breathe and close your mind and really think through things, you can put yourself in a better place and you can feel closer and connected to the Lord. And so I love that you dove in with the noise, because that is the issue, is the noise. Clear the noise, clear the clutter.
So one thing I have really locked in on, especially when I lost Hallie, was controlling that narrative in my thoughts and what content I consume. Because in order to survive, I have to focus on eliminating the noise. You don't ever heal from this type of loss. You don't. You just learn to carry it and function when you're broken. And I think a lot of people live like that, whether it's you lose a child or you just feel completely broken. You have to learn to cling to faith and hope. But to actually fully heal from this, that's not even in my vocabulary. It's not in any mom's vocabulary that lost her child. So what content, I was thinking through this, what content do I absorb? And the first and foremost is the only music that I listen to is faith and worship music. If I listen to music, most of the time I don't have it on. But if I am going to listen to music, because there's a lot of songs that can be healing, can change your perspective. And I feel like Christian music, it's like a guided prayer in so many aspects. And first I'll just apologize to Aric because he's, for a fun gig, he's a radio DJ on country music, and I don't listen to it because if I'm going to consume something, it's got to be like good for my soul. Not that country music's not, but you know what I'm saying? It's
It's all about
controlling the
heartbreak,
content.
honey.
It's
Yeah.
controlling the content. And I only have a limited amount of space to listen to music. So it's got to be goodness. So if you are not listening to Christian music, you're missing out. I didn't listen to it, but I mean, I
No.
probably have only started listening to Christian music maybe when we joined the crossing because I didn't know there was like actually good songs that are Christian based out there. Like
Well,
my
let me.
version of Christian music was what I heard in church, but traditional
Hmm.
church, like When Beneath My Wings stuff, like
Right.
and
The Catholic Church's
and
greatest
holy,
hits.
holy, holy, holy.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
that's great songs in the church. But like outside of church, I didn't know that there was even a whole thing around Christian music that was like good songs.
Let me tell you how this all went down, and you may not remember this, but
Probably
uh,
not.
so in 2017, yeah, I started the process of going through a divorce, and our friend who we've had on before, Lynn Roush, suggested that I start listening to this radio station called K-Love. Yes, I am an afternoon DJ on the #1 radio station in mid-Missouri. Just throw that out there. Country station, Clear 99. But
He's trying to
I'm just saying, I
tell me I
am.
should listen
So
more.
no, when I listen, but when I'm not listening to my own radio station, I listen all the time to K-Love, and it's a national Christian radio station that our friend Lynn told me that I should start listening to as I was trying to reorient my life. And so that's when I started listening to it. And I was like, this stuff is really good. And as you said, it's like very Christian based, uplifting, and really helps you get through the day and puts you in a better mood. And so then when
And let me just say real quick, there's a lot of like upbeat songs. A lot of times I'll work out to the songs. Like they're not somber songs. There's a lot of them that are like really good, positive
Mhm.
energy, high energy type of songs.
And so when we started dating in 2019, I remember we were in the car one time and I was like, hey, this might be weird. I listen to this radio station a lot. It was probably like right after I had taken you to the crossing for the first time, right? So like I'm trying to like ease you into this whole Christian experience. Like one, I knew it was a big deal that you went to church with me because I was not like high on your priority list. Then you liked the crossing. And then I was like, okay, maybe I'll see what she thinks of this radio station. And so then started doing that. And then when we built our home and moved in together, then started listening to Caleb in the bathroom in the morning through our Amazon Alexa. So it was a slow process to get you into the Christian music groove, but it's something that you
Mhm.
really took to and I think has worked. So all of
Yeah,
that to say that was kind of how that
good
slow
therapy.
process built. And it went back all the way to Lynn Roush with bringing it on to me in 2017.
On my blog post, I listed some songs, but I have a whole massive playlist of amazing songs. So go check out my blog post on Blended Blessed, Always a Mess website. But I mean, there's just a few like God is in the Story is phenomenal song that we heard for the first time when we were pulling into our driveway when we knew Hallie was going to die the next day or that day. Was it that day?
It was that day. It was like 3 a.m. and we came home to
The
just
day
clean
that we
up
were
because,
going to say
yeah.
goodbye. And it was like, oh my God, like God is in the story and all this heartbreak. And anytime we hear that song, anybody in our family or even just extended family, it's like you immediately think of that. But like Rise Up, Truth Be Told, You Keep Me Alive, Hold On to Me, Help Is on the Way, Lord, I Need You. I mean, there's just so many good songs, but
You didn't even
you
say
don't want to do your
Waymaker. That's your favorite song. Waymaker, to the
Waymaker.
point where when it's not on, you're
Mhm.
complaining to the church. Like, we need a request
I
box at
know.
church that I can request Waymaker. And so
Okay,
I'm
that's the
texting our
first.
worship leader. He's like, we play it. Well, not enough
No,
for Ange. Not enough for
bull
Ange.
crappers. With they, that's the first place I heard it. A long
Yeah.
time ago at the crossing, and I'm like,
Hmm.
oh my God, the kids love it, we love it, and I bet you I've not heard it in a year.
That's I've heard it in the
They
last
need a
year.
suggestion box, or they need me to give them the playlist. Also,
Uh,
why don't they sing Lord, I Need You? Like, that is such a powerful song we sang at Hallie's Celebration of Life.
I've been texting with David trying to set up lunch or coffee in the next week or a half. He's one of our great worship leaders that we love there, and he helped with the Hallie
Mm-hmm.
celebration. If you
Mm-hmm.
just want to put a playlist together for me,
Yeah.
I'll share that with him at our
Mm-hmm.
coffee/lunch so that I can say, hey, your
Mm-hmm.
next worship you lead, Angie just like to throw all
I
these.
mean, I'll drop a few little extra in the donation box. Come on, I need some good music in my soul on Sundays, especially.
Okay, but
'Cause it's the
she does.
coffee cup. It's the
She loves
coffee
the
cup.
music. She loves the music, and I'm glad that you do because it makes our mornings that much better when we're getting up and we're getting ready and we have our dual syncs and one of us is super alive in the morning and the other one of us
Got
doesn't
me.
want to be spoken to. At least we have Caleb in the middle to
That's right.
make it work.
Bridge that gap. You can
For
sing and I can
sure.
just whoo, I need some prayers to start the day. So that's one aspect of eliminating noise is to make sure that if there is going to be some noise in the background, that it's goodness. So that's helpful for me.
Hey, speaking of noise in the background, real quick before we move on to the next one, can we just all, if you're watching YouTube or if you're on Facebook and watching a short, can we just talk real quick about how cute Angie's fit is with this
Your
stocking
hat.
cap? And is that, oh, that's not mine? Okay, Angie gave me that
Your
hat for
hat.
Christmas, but everything just goes, it
It's
matches
because I
so
didn't want to
well.
fix
And
my hair this morning because
even,
I'm going to the
even in
barn
your,
later.
even in your pain, you are gorgeous. And so I think that's, we need to call that out. I
Moving
love
on.
your little fit. All right, on
Moving
continuing
on.
with the podcast.
So the second thing, these are in order of difficulty. So the music for me is an easy one to focus on. The second thing that gets harder is movement. So I try not to let negative thoughts consume me. And one way to combat that, we all have negative talk tracks and devils telling us stuff, is then I move my body and I try really hard to consume healthy content. But that also is content like food and fuel in my body that gives me the energy to fight off those devils. So we've talked about this before. I am part of the Jen's Get Fit program. It's a very positive and supportive environment, which is also what you need to help with your little battle plan of the devils. But here's why I think people think that, like, if you work out all the time, that it's like you have the energy to do it. I do not. I do not want to move my body. I'd rather lay in bed and cry all day. I don't want to. I have to drag my ass to go work out.
There are
But I,
times I'll walk downstairs and she's working out and she's crying. I've seen that
yes,
before.
I don't want to do it. I don't have the energy to do it. But I try to fight forward and I try to, first of all, eat healthy so I don't have to work out longer because I don't want to work out.
She's done that since I met her. I was like, why do you eat that way? She's like, because I don't like to work out. And I
I
was
don't
like,
like to work
okay.
out. It's the 80-20 rule. 80% of what you put in your body, 20% working out.
I work out so I can't eat that way.
Yeah, yours is probably a little bit different. But you've been doing good. You look amazing. Look
Thank you.
amazing.
And to your point, I actually heard that you may make fun of it. People may know him as an actor. I first knew him as a wrestler.
Oh
But
God, not the wrestling shit.
John Cena has said for years, woo, dun, 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 dun. John Cena has said for years, a bad workout is way better than no workout. So like even on
Yeah,
the
that's
days that
true.
he doesn't want to go to the gym, if he just goes, even if it's a bad workout, it is better than no workout. And I do see that. And I see, especially in the mornings, now that the twins drive themselves to school and you've got that time, you're getting more workouts in the morning. And what I do notice is like, I'll hop in the shower, you'll go downstairs to work out. And when you come back up, your mindset is
It's
better.
better. I know it's better.
It's like I see a lift, like things lifted off of you in that
Yeah.
30-minute workout with Jen when you come back upstairs. That's like, okay, she seems like she's in a better spot than she was when she walked downstairs 30 minutes.
You shed the BS that you're carrying. All I'm saying is it's freaking hard and I don't want to do it. And I know it's helpful. So sometimes, like yesterday, I went to the gym and I didn't feel like working out hard. So I got on the bike for 30 minutes and just did that so that I could still be able to focus on something else, but I was still moving my body.
Yeah.
I'm just calling out, like, it is such a mindset thing that is not freaking easy, and I do not want to do it. There's this quote the other day, because we all do it. I mean, we tell this to our kids too. Like, you think that I love every part of my job or I love every part of the task that I have to do? No. Discipline is training your mind to do the things you don't want to do, to do the hard shit. That's discipline. We don't like half the crap that we have to do, but we
We'll
do it. So it's medicine. So if you have not tried moving your body when you're feeling overwhelmed or anxious or depressed, you're missing out on a free way to reset your nervous system. Now, it's not free if you pay for a gym or you pay for a fitness program, but it's not expensive. It's a couple of Starbucks coffees for the Gens Get Fit, and you're surrounded by an army of women with positivity. So rather than scrolling all day on comparison apps, put your phone down and go just move your body. Go for a walk. Even just a walk can help change perspective. It reminds me of what I posted this week on that 8th grade letter that Hallie wrote to herself, to her senior self, that I found on Christmas Day. Didn't even know I had it right after we lost her. Is sometimes you have to go on a long trail ride to gain a new perspective. And that's what it's all about. Change your environment to get a different perspective, and you won't regret it.
Just to build on what you said about discipline is training your mind to do the things you don't want to do, and having a conversation with our kids. Like, do you think we love our jobs? Do you think we do have a lot of people that are listening that are in hard seasons of life too? And maybe that's your marriage. It's the same thing for a marriage. I mean, we've talked about this on our podcast, that it's not been an easy 2+
No.
years since Hallie died. It's not waking up to the newlywed life that we were living before she died, but it's a choice that you make to train yourself to continue to love each other. And I've been studying more and more about how love it's not a feeling, it's a choice. That's a discipline. And so it's learning to love someone when they're completely different than the person that you married. And that's what love and marriage is. And that's so that in the hard parts, it's again training yourself so that you have the discipline to move forward in the situation. And it is great to be able to go just get outside of your box for a minute and be by yourself and reset. And then you come back into grief, or you come back into a job, or you come back into parenting or a marriage, and you have a new fresh perspective so that you can approach it differently and maybe with a little bit of new verve, new excitement.
And you might have to do that every day. Like, discipline is also not something that once you have it, you have it. Or,
Oh, I
oh,
think it's an
hey,
everyday thing. I think it is.
yeah.
Yes.
Or even choosing to love every day in your marriage. Like, that's an everyday, moment by moment thing when you're struggling. Like, it's just freaking hard. So hard. So, the last M.
Earlier, I have to laugh. You said at the start of this podcast, like everything like annoys you. And then I was like, oh
Mhm,
God, I'm the husband. Oh God.
mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm serious, but like I'm just being real. Like, when my skin's crawling, when you are like so anxious and like everything around you is just like it's like poking at you. I'm just acknowledging that because I know other people feel that way. And it's not, and that's where marriage is hard, because it's not that I don't love you. It's that I'm in this like bad, hard, dark space, and there's not, I have to pull myself out of that. I have to. Like, these are all choices that we make. And
I do
I
look
have
at
to figure out
that.
how to navigate that when it feels like everything else, people are worried about small shit, and you're inside your body going, but I'm dealing with big shit. Like, I don't care about what Trump said or what the weather's going to be. You know what I mean? Like, but that's my internal demons going like, I'm trying to fight so hard just to get through moment by moment, and it's hard to navigate everything else that's going on around you when you're like inside screaming going, this is not right. It's not
Yeah.
right.
And I look at what you just said about being alone and all those things. And while we still don't do it perfectly, I don't do it perfectly. I do think if we were to look today versus even a year ago, we do it better.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
there's more space. Like I much more recognize now, oh, this is a space time.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
keep
better
that,
leave her
maybe
alone or the
maybe
demons will come out.
she will rip her face off and eat me.
Yes, I might some days. Oh my God.
It's a beautiful face, but if she rips it off to eat me,
Really?
God help us all. Which brings us to the third and
Which
final
is
M to
the
calm
hard
down.
part.
Yeah.
This is the hardest part for me. The hardest part is to meditate. And let me just say, like, people say meditate, like I'm thinking, ooh, it's not that for me. It's just going and being somewhere in a quiet space. And for me, like, I crave sunshine. There's something about the sun shining on my face that's almost like it's medicine. And so, like, in our bedroom, we have big windows in our bedroom, and there's this chair. It's a beautiful chair, isn't it,
It is a
Eric?
beautiful share from our friend Sherry. And I thought about this when I read your blog the other day. I was like, I have never paid so much for a chair. I also love the chair myself. I read my Bible in it because I like you. I like the sunshine coming in on me
Uh-huh.
when I do it. And I bought that chair right before Hallie died for your birthday. And who would
He
have
had no
known
idea what he was
that
going to spend
we
on a
would
cheap
end
chair
up?
for a
I
corner of
did
the room.
not. And she gave me a deal because we're friends. And I was like, wow, wow.
But that
Okay.
chair, we'll be passing that chair down to our grandkids probably
For
because it's
45 years, we're going to get every bit out of that chair that we can. But it is a great chair for sure.
it's a great chair because it's just in this corner and the sun shines in and hits her face. And how I describe meditating is where I can sit there with my eyes shut and I feel the sun on my face and I can like close everything down. And in those moments, I feel like I can like deeply connect with Hallie and with God and privately, like in my head, like go to a whole different level of my thoughts and my prayers and talking to them. Because, like, you prayed this morning when we got up because I was a mess, and you like go into this like long, beautiful prayer. That's not me. It'll never be me. My prayers in those moments are so like deep and they're personal, and it's just talking. I miss you and just help me.
And now we're
Help
back
me
to
live
the
the way
music.
that I'm supposed to live with this. Because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how I'm supposed to be a mom. Like, I'll give you an example. I don't know what it's like to be a kid going through this and losing your sister. But I also know, like, they don't want to be defined by this. They want to go live their lives. And so, like, tonight, my mom's having, like, a game night at her house for Hallie's birthday, inviting all the family, right? And they want to go to a basketball game that's, like, a big deal with their school. I can't make them, nor do I want to make them go. They're going to come later. But like even in those scenarios, I have to think about like I don't know what it's like to be a kid that has went through that loss. And sometimes I think it's awkward and weird for them because I think sometimes it's easier for them to just be like I want to go be me and I don't want this heavy shit that somebody made us go through because of terrible choices. Anyway, so this is, like I said, this is hard because for me personally, when my skin's crawling and I'm anxious and heavy and in a dark place, I do the opposite of what I think my body's telling me, just freaking go to bed, right? But like I get really, really busy and I become like this machine that's like hyper productive. I make long lists. I like knock shit out. I don't stop. I just go, go, go. And
She
because
is like
then,
a machine, like unreal how much stuff she gets done in grief.
because sitting when I'm feeling that way causes more pain and I can't take it. And so meditating really hurts my heart big time because then I feel the pain at such a deep level. But you got to lean into it because feeling is healing to a point where you can at least carry the hurt and pain, if that makes any sense. And so it's hard for me because what I want to do is just like knock out a bunch of things and just be super busy. But what I really need to do is sit in it, feel it, talk at a deep level. And I always feel better after that. Anyway, then I also saw this other quote that it's like, the bad news is time flies. So when I think about like how in the heck has it been 3 birthdays without her? I mean, it just literally happened yesterday, it feels like. Yesterday. But the good news is that you're the pilot of your life. Like I said earlier, the sky belongs to no one. You're the pilot. You get to determine what you're going to consume and how you're going to spend your time in the hard times and the good times. It's your choice. And so I'll also use this buffalo quote because we can talk about later where I used that buffalo quote just recently. But buffaloes go towards a storm. They go into the storm to get through it quicker, to weather it quicker. Where like cows tend to herd and go away from the storm. And so if you're a pilot of the way you spend your time, you are going to have lots of storms come your way. And the choice for you is whether you're going to go into that storm and come out a hell of a lot stronger, even when you would never have chosen the path, or are you going to run away from the storm? You got to choose.
I was sharing with Angie my devotional this morning, which talked oddly enough on Hallie's birthday, was about when you lose someone, and as a Christian, how that can be. And it really is that when you have a relationship with Jesus, when someone that you love dies, and that's going to happen to all of us. I mean, everyone is going to die. That is the 100% fact. That when you have a relationship with Jesus, it's not goodbye. It's see you soon or see you again, because that day's coming when we will do that. And so, since you talked about the music, and this is unscripted, the way I like it, not so much Angie, but I do know that Hallie would like it because she used to like it when she would have me sing. We have videos of that. And so let's just, with your tears this morning, take one of the songs from your list and just real quick, you can meditate. How about that? Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. Happy birthday, Hal. We love you. Hope that you'll spend some time with us today, whatever big galaxy you're out hanging with God in. Your mama loves you. We hope you guys have a wonderful week. Hug the ones you love. Give them a good kiss, a squeeze. Tell them you love them. God bless.